everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about what is going on with NBDE, all the changes that are happening to it. I'm going to try and explain in this video. First of all, sorry if this video is a little too dark. Am I too dark? I don't know, because we just moved and I kind of try to find a way to position myself in, but I've got a nice little view over here, so I thought it would be a nice place. Apparently not. Some people who I talk to on my Instagram or who reach out to me seem to not know what's going on with NBDE. They tell me like, hi, I'm a student, I'm graduating in 2021, and what do you think about studying for NBDE? And I'm like, it's not gonna exist by that time. So just so we are all on the same page, I'm gonna talk about it in this video. All the information that I'm telling you right now, I found on the official website. It's not difficult to find, it's all right there, nothing new. So let's get right into it. First of all, NBDE is being canceled as a thing, and they're replacing it by an exam that is called NBDE, which is seriously, they're not being creative with it. Anywho, this NBDE exam will include both part 1 and part 2 in one exam. Big question is when it's happening, and NBDE part 1 will be canceled July 31st, 2020. Mark your calendars. And the new exam will be created, I don't know, you will be allowed to take the new exam on August 1st, 2020. So basically the next day. That's part 1. Part 2 is being canceled in 2 years after that, so July 31st, 2022. So basically you will not have this time when you will be able to choose either to pass part 1 or this new exam. As soon as the part 1 is canceled, you will automatically start registering for the new exam. The new exam will include 500 questions, which is technically shorter than both part 1 and part 2 because those both exam include 900 questions, and this exam, the new exam, will take a day and a half to take. Well, what do you mean a day and a half? It's not like I sit there all day, right? So technically part 1 takes 1 day to take and part 2 takes 2 days to take, but also it's like 6 hours first day, 6 hours the other day. Is it 2 days? I don't know. They don't tell you exactly how long it's gonna be. They just say it's gonna be 500 questions. There are no guides on that yet, so you kind of just have to guess. So this is the general information about that exam. If you have taken and passed your part 1 and you're registering for part 2 in 2020, they will tell you that you are allowed to take part 2 and you're also allowed to take this new exam. But this is going to be, as they say, like a field test. Therefore you test yourself, your scores. So I guess you can take both, but your scores on the NBDE will not be reported. It's kind of just for them to test the test question. I don't really understand that, but I guess you have an option to test it out. I don't see why one would possibly want to do that, because 2 exams, no thank you. Whatever, that's what they say, and you have an option for that. Also, in that like in between period when part 2 is available and this new exam is flying around, you can choose which one to take. But once you have tried to take part 2, you will not be allowed to take NBDE anymore. So if you have attempted to take part 2 but failed, you will not be allowed to go and take NBDE. You would need to retest on part 2. So basically you are not allowed to switch your exam of choice. Talking about what the new exam is gonna look like, I found some test questions in some deep dark web, as I like searching around and finding things. So basically there are released practice tests, I guess. They're not practice, but what they're thinking the test is gonna look like. I'm sure it's gonna change a million times before they actually fly it. So I have them right here in front of you. This is a PDF document and I would love to link it, but unfortunately I have lost that link. I have no idea where I found it. So if you want to look at it, it's nothing like crazy, so I don't think you need it. But if you're curious, you can text me on Instagram, DM me, and I will email it to you. It's not that big. Anywho, I went through all these questions just to kind of get a general idea what this thing is gonna look like. And basically, majority of it is part 2. There are pictures, there are x-rays, pictures of patients, as you can see over here, and there are a bunch of questions related to it. So basically, if you have taken part 1, they're like testlets. A lot similar to that. But there are some questions that you would find normally on part 1. So basically, there are mostly questions that you can see in this practice test. There are on mechanisms, so biochemistry mostly. I didn't see any anatomy questions, at least in this document. So their biochemistry, like how does this drug work? This particular question, which mechanism of action most likely explains the current condition, and there's a patient description in front of it. So basically you would like have to think about, I think it's like a bleeding problem, and there are like vitamin K problems and everything like that. So you understand this is like biochemistry from part 1. Also, they show you x-ray pictures here and ask like what anatomical thing is this thing, and there are options like an artery, a nerve. So in my opinion, they're gonna completely eliminate everything that is related to anatomy of the whole body. And in my opinion, this test is gonna make American dentists even dumber than they currently are, which is borderline retarded. So I'm not in favor of this test, but that's just my opinion. For us foreign trained dentist friends, it's actually probably gonna be better, especially if you have practiced for a while in your country and you don't remember any of the stupid sciences that you have to learn again for part 2. This would be your ideal option, because it's all the questions in this test are related to the case that was presented before it. So they're all testlet type. And to kind of conclude this video, I will give my opinion on this. So overall, I think this exam is going to be much easier than part 1 and part 2. It's definitely going to be shorter. You don't have to study for 2 exams. But if you have passed your NBDE part 1 and you're planning to not even think about NBDE part 2 and just pass this exam in the future, in one way or the other, this will make you remember what you studied for part 1 anyway. So basically, you would have to study for part 1 twice in some amount, which in my opinion is not great, and I would like to avoid that in any shape or form. I don't want to pass this test. I'm going with part 2. For people who are gonna graduate in the time that this exam is gonna come out, don't even bother with part 1. This would be your best option in my opinion. But the minus of that is that this is completely new. There are no test guides, no like books to study for it. Nobody have taken it. Nobody knows what it's gonna look like. That's one problem. I'm sure they're gonna come up with that, but it's not gonna be as wide variety of things that you can find right now. I'm sure you can still use part 1 stuff, I mean the NBDE stuff for this new exam, but there's no way to know how accurate this is gonna be. Besides, I personally went through this education system, testing system change in my country. Exactly at the time that I was supposed to graduate, they changed the examination system from, you know, oral exam as it was before us to this Americanized test system for the license exams. And it was a complete disaster because they couldn't figure out how the test questions are. There were different types of questions. Next year it was completely changed because they didn't like how students answer. So it was a shit show, honestly. It was like ridiculous, which I think is gonna happen with this exam as well. So this is kind of, you know, use your best judgment and decide which exam you would like to take personally. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're having a great day. I hope your studying is going perfectly, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.